So the first VOD we're gonna do is the you versus Loki. I assume the Rob player.
Yes.
And we'll see how that goes. How do you feel about Rob in general?
Um, this is the first. Well, first of all, Rob in this game is completely different than Smash 4. I feel like he uses moves that I never even saw in Smash 4, and they're really good in this game.
Yeah, yeah, like side B is a super good kill move. It can be comboed into itself. He's very like it's changed a bit. Like he still uses gyro and he still uses a laser to kind of like zone you out, but now it's a lot of like nair down tilt fair, and things like that to
Right.
constantly like pop you up because he wants to keep you in that like disoriented state where he can keep hitting you, and it's less like oh watch out for the down throw up air, and it's more like watch out getting carried off the side at 50 and dying or something like that. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I think it's a matchup that relatively even for Olimar. Goes back and forth. Like you're poking him a lot, you combo him really well, and he's just like constantly trying to disrupt you. And he's got a few good kill moves that can make it a little tough. And I
Yeah.
understand dealing with something like gyro all the time is very frustrating because he'll shoot it out and then it just lingers there, or if it hits your shield, then he can shoot it out again. So there's a bunch of different annoying things. But I think Battlefield is like a fine stage that was picked in this game. Like you can juggle them pretty well here. You can kind of hide under the platforms. It's not like a one-sided thing by any means.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. Game starts. You go for a forward smash. Just right off the bat, I think like you could probably be going for like side B pressure right off the
Okay.
bat because you're both on those platforms, right? And you drop down, and it's very unlikely that the Rob is just gonna run in at you immediately. So you don't need to be forward airing or forward smashing or anything like that, right? Like, but if you drop down and maybe like drift back from him, like drift back away from him and side B, you're gonna throw a Pikmin at him, or you could even drop down and drift in a little bit and throw the Pikmin at him. And in the beginning of the match, he starts off, he drops down, he drifts back a little bit, he shoots gyro, he shoots a laser, and he catches you forward smashing, and you take the first hit. So I think like going for side B in those scenarios would probably be better off. Like you can the opposing character that you're fighting kind of dictates how the start of the game goes a lot of the time. Like if you're fighting someone like Fox or someone like Lucina or kind of a more in-your-face character, they're going to be more likely to like start the game off, gunning you down. But if someone like Rob, or if it's
Mm.
someone like Duck Hunt, or maybe even like Young Link, someone more traditionally like projectile heavy, they're probably going to start off spacing out, putting up their like wall, so to speak, and kind of starting their game plan there. So that's when you can use like side B to kind of get a little damage on, maybe block a projectile, things like that.
Right. And get them dealing with Pikmin
Yeah, yeah, and that
first
that's
before they put out their projectile.
yeah, and that's something that I'm glad you brought up because like you want them to have to deal with something right from the get go, even if it's not a very like high commitment option. It's just like you're able to force them to deal with it or take damage, and if they deal with it, they can kill it. You can potentially punish them for killing it. If they do kill it, you're one step closer to getting a purple. Once you get purples, you can shift how you approach. Like it's kind of a there's always something to be done with that type of gameplay. So it's really good that
Yeah.
you're making them deal with it, and that's why myself I like to side B so much because one, it keeps me doing something, keeps my opponent
Mhm.
having to deal with something, keeps my lineup moving, so it's harder to read. It's getting damage out. It's giving me some punish windows. It's getting me purples faster. It's always going towards something.
Yeah. I think that's probably a weakness of mine, which is forgetting to side B when I'm lost in a matchup.
hmm It's not like a super easy thing to always know, because like there are
Yeah.
people who side B too much. There are times, even there are times where I get punished for side being when I was too concerned about doing it or too concerned about throwing a Pikmin or something like that. Um,
Mhm.
but it's a really good option to kind of like fill the downtime, so to speak, where like you're not in an a place where you guys are going to be directly interacting. So now you can short hop side B, and now you're doing
All right.
something, and now you're making them respond to information. I'm not sure if you've ever watched Melee or anything like that, but competitive Melee, a lot of like top level foxes like they'll like be fighting, and then when there's a little bit of space, they'll just start like short hop lasering, just like put out a
Yeah.
little bit something extra, and it's like you can do that very well with Olimar. Where
Okay.
it's like in those little downtimes you can like jump short hop side B. Oh, I latched to Pikmin on. Oh, I hit him. Throw a side B. Oh, I ran away. Throw a side B. Just something like that. Just to keep it going, keep your lineup constantly moving so it doesn't stagnate.
All right.
Alrighty. Mm. Just from the get go, it feels like you don't, we're only like 14 seconds in, but you don't seem to have the most, I guess, comfortable time like approaching, like you're going for down tilts or you're going for grabs when like Rob is trying to come in and things like that, and those can work, but like don't be afraid to, if he's coming at you from like the ground or like a 45-degree angle like above and diagonal, don't be afraid to
Mm-hmm.
just like overshoot your spacing. And when I say overshoot, I mean like get in his face and like fair him. If
Huh.
he's
Okay.
committed to an option, your fair will win. It is a transcendent move. Assuming like
Yeah.
you don't trade with some massive hitbox or whatever. And I'm not saying you always have to like overshoot and be in his face, but if you're worried about like not reaching him, that's when you want to overshoot it. Ideally, you want to like space with like the tip of your fair, the middle area, so that you're not super committing your body. But like
Mm-hmm.
call him out for jumping, right? You
Yeah.
need to make him respect your options, and that's when you can do that. Or you could, if he's going for a 45, you could just run under and up smash him, because it's also going to cover that short hop perfect because you're going to run right under him. But like, don't let him jump for free. And I know things like down tilt are kind of like low commitment, very safe feeling options. Like, oh, if you hit him, you might pop him up, things like that, and those can work.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you have all of these different ways to kind of make people respect you in some degree. Like, and you want to apply them all. You want to be like, hey, you're not allowed to jump in my face for free anymore, and I'm going
Okay.
to make you respect that.
All right.
So like right here, you guys were in this like long range neutral. You're on the right side of the stage. He's on the left side, right? And I think like you have a yellow and then a white, and then you cycle with up air the yellow behind, and then it puts the white in front. And you try and throw the white. It like misses him, and then he kind of shoots you with something. You guys are playing that projectile game back and forth, but then you like pluck, and then you cycle again. Like you weren't side being nearly as much as you could in those like long distance areas where that's where your side B is at its like best,
Mm.
because you were so concerned with maybe only throwing the white. Like don't be afraid to throw the yellow. Don't be afraid to throw the purple, the red, the blue, whatever it is. Like let
Yeah.
them throw them. If you really want them back, whistle them right as they land, and you're probably gonna get them back. If he kills them, then you just pluck another pigment. It's not a huge deal.
Okay.
Um, but like yeah, just like filling those gaps where you guys aren't right on top of each other with side B is gonna help you a lot. Don't like find a reliance off it and that you feel you always have to side B, but just like working on noticing the like, oh hey, there's a bunch of distance between us. Now I can start side Bing to get a little bit of extra pressure out, a little bit of extra credit, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Catches your roll on with the gyro. That's just something that can be a little tough to deal with. Like when they put the gyro right at the ledge and then they kind of go into that roll distance and they cover with an up smash. What you can do is you can drop down, jump, and like fair and try and grab the gyro at the same time and then land where it is. So you don't have to
Mm.
commit to a roll. You can try get up attacking and hitting the gyro away with the invincibility. You can do regular get up and try and like time it past his up smash, but that's a little hard because the gyro will send you in sometimes. You could ledge jump, like just jump straight from the ledge and dodge it. Rolls are definitely a comfortable option, so I see why you chose it, but don't be afraid to just like sometimes wait a little bit longer on the ledge and mix up your timings and then throw a different option in there, and that could like, because you're stuck with these like set options at the ledge no matter what's happening, but like just changing up the timing even by like half a second can make a world of difference.
Yeah. I think being on the ledge against Rob is one thing that I found I was completely lost in.
Hmm.
It's very unusual compared to other
Yeah,
characters.
he ledge traps very well. That gyro just like covers so much that it scares you, and then it puts you into a spot where he'll be, and it does a lot.
Hmm.
And that's why I said like drop down fair can grab the gyro, or you
Yeah.
could drop down side B, like drop down jump side B and kind of go around it, and then like up B and try and get around it that way, land on the platform maybe. So they're definitely like you can kind of get creative with what you do because you have your double jump, you have so much flexibility with up B. It's kind of like a third jump slash hover at the same time.
Hmm.
So it gives you a lot of freedom in how you can go about doing things. Like you don't have to worry like, oh no, I burned my jump, now I might not be able to recover or something like that.
Yeah.
So right there, it's just like you guys are going back and forth. This is pretty fine. I mean, just kind of like feeling each other out in the more neutral-esque game. I think one thing that I'm noticing is like there's a lot of times where you'll be almost out of Rob's range and he'll like nick you with something. Like there was
Yeah.
the one point where you like purple side B, then he caught you with like the tip of forward smash and it knocked you back out. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna recover, I'm gonna go high, and then he catches you with just like the tip of up air, and then you get hit and then you die.
Yeah.
So maybe like if you find yourself getting hit a lot in those situations, maybe like next time you're in that situation, be like, oh, if I think I'm safe here, maybe let me go a little bit farther.
Okay.
Until you kind of get a more accurate idea of where Rob's hitboxes are.
Yeah.
And that'll probably do you a little bit better off. Or you could like throw the purple side B and then immediately like up B and kind of don't go down or up, kind of like go back and then up and around, and allow yourself kind of like the ability to just like weave around him, so you're not like side being or doing whatever and then trying to go through him. You know, because you have, especially when you have no Pikmin, like you can outmaneuver pretty much anyone with that B. So like you can take a little bit of extra time to kind of go around or just like right above his stuff. You don't have to, I guess, like ride that fine line of like, am I right near him or not?
Hmm.
So he takes your stocks. Let's see what you do here. Come down, pluck 3. That's good. That's good. Yeah, see, like I like what you're doing now. You're kind of going for like the came down from that stock, and he wasn't approaching, but he wasn't throwing anything out, and you're kind of just like side being as well. I think your side B game was a little lacking in the fact that it was kind of like jump, throw one, land, jump, throw one, land, as opposed to like jump, throw, throw. Like you were kind of letting your side B pressure be very like linear and straightforward. It's like I'm gonna jump and I'm gonna throw one and then I'm gonna land and I'm gonna do it again, as opposed to like jump and throw, and then kind of like make multiple things happen at the same time. And even while you're doing that, maybe like throw 2 Pikmin and then approach him with like that third one and kind of try and cover his landing with a forward air or a down tilt or something. Like you're not in the lead right now, so approaching is something you're going to have to do most likely, unless he just like waltzes in on you. So kind of working on approaching while side being is going to do you a lot of favors. Like you kind of want to crank up the actions per minute for your character. Like I'm a heavy advocate of playing Olimar very fast, but like cranking up the actions per minute with your character, so that it's like you're gonna throw a bunch of stuff, he's gonna have to deal with it, and then if your goal is to like not disorient him, but kind of like catch his eye on something else, like you'll be like, oh, that purple or that red just got thrown at me, and then you're like forward air, or oh, he shielded that blue that I just threw that there was no reason to shield, I'm gonna grab him. So it's kind of like throwing so many things at them that you want them to pick the wrong option.
I see.
See, there's a lot of like time right now where like you have 2 Pikmin, and it's not terrible to have 2 Pikmin, but like you're not doing anything with them. You're kind of just like trying to space out. You're not even using the side B in a lot of areas, so you're kind of just like trying to play him like you're a sword character in the sense that you don't have any like projectile, you don't have any range. And it's just like these are the instances where you want to fill a lot of that downtime with side B, get the damage, force him to respond to something, and it's going to be a lot better off. Gets the white down throw. It ended up working. I probably would have thrown the white and then gone for something, but you know, that's part of that like you can play it your own way type of deal. Like you're not, you know, kind of locked into this one way that you need to play Olimar. Another instance there, he puts the gyro with the ledge, you get scared, you roll, he up smashes you. That might be a reoccurring theme of this game just in general. Like it's something you're gonna have to be a bit more conscious of moving forward. So don't like punish yourself too hard for like doing that over and over again in like this or any other game, because you might not have been as aware of it beforehand.
Yeah, no, I was still fairly new to Rob at the point of this match, so.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, there's like the biggest thing is your neutral game is just very what's the word? Non-threatening, I guess. You like side B itself isn't a threatening action. Like right here, you guys are both on your second stock, and you're kind of getting some percent, but like just to go back to what I said, there's nothing happening. You're just kind of letting Rob kind of find his way in, because you're not actually doing much more than the occasional aerial or forward smash to be like, hey, oh, I thought you were going to come in now, I'll try and hit you. But with these side Bs, you make him get residual damage while he tries to approach. It's going to lag his moves when he does throw them out. If he hits them, he's going to want to get them off, you know, and then you're able to kind of like weave around him trying to deal with that. Because not only does he have to approach you now, or he is in this case, not only is he approaching you, but he's approaching you with something on him that he wants to get off, and that's very important to deal with for him because he's not going to want to take 2%, every tick, because that'll rack up
Mm-hmm.
really fast. So yeah, just going back to it, like integrating side Bs more into your gameplay, kind of like flexing the fact that you have these projectiles.
Hmm. I think one of the main weaknesses of my playstyle is being offensive, and I think maybe my lack of side B usage is like is why I feel like I can't get in
Well,
offensively.
yeah, you don't. Olimar doesn't like outside of having like two purples. He doesn't have like a I get to run in and just like press buttons
Yeah,
on your shield for free all the time. He's not like a fox or someone. He's slow,
right,
and
right.
while he does have some safe stuff, it's not like you just get to press it for free on anyone. Um,
Right.
so
But you can be through using
uh,
your side B and then
yeah, what you want to do with Olimar, it's like you're about making the opponent pick the wrong option. So you throw
mm,
these Pikmin, and while they're almost like fox lasers in a sense, where they don't knock them away or anything, they don't have any knockback, but the effect that
yeah.
they cause, the opponent wants to hit them, they want to do anything, and it's like even if you don't actually get in, you're still getting these Pikmin on them. If they kill them, you're going to get potentially better colors faster. They do, they don't kill. If they do kill them, you can maybe go up and punish them. So it's like you want to throw these Pikmin while you're approaching, because you can side B at any point
Mm,
in time. That's not like it's low. It's committal to an extent, but it's low commitment, and you can do it while you're moving. So you want to put these Pikmin out, and then kind of make your opponent respond to them, and then, like I said earlier, you punish them for picking the wrong option. Um,
okay.
it's all about kind of coercing your opponent into the spot you want them to be, and then once you touch them as Olimar, that's when you get to combo or kill very well. But it's like
Right.
getting in is tough. And then side B is such a um, multi-purpose tool. It's you use it on the defensive. You use it when you're in advantage state and they're off stage, get a little extra percent, or kill them with a purple. You use it while you approach to make them
Hmm.
deal with another option while you're approaching. It's like setting a trap almost. It covers so many bases that you don't have to like force yourself to do it only defensive or only offensively. And offensive Olimar definitely is, I would say, the harder type of Olimar to play. Like it's very easy to be
Definitely.
defensive and just pivot F smash and grab their landings and all this stuff. But to approach, you
Yeah.
really have to find a way to weave these options in to create a very elaborate like trap. It's like, oh, I made you attack the wrong thing. Now I'm gonna punch you over here or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's just something to keep working. Like when you play, from here on out, just try and incorporate side B more and be like, okay, what am I doing? Oh, I made him attack my red. Now I can go punish, and practice that mindfulness and that understanding of like when you're throwing a Pikmin, what are you looking for out of that side B? Do you want just the damage? Do you want them to kill it? Do you want them to avoid it? Whatever it is, and then understand how they respond to it. And it's gonna once you like pay more attention to that, you're gonna be able to build a better understanding of how the opponent responds to what you do. Because that's what
Got
Olimar is
it.
all about, is like
Yeah.
understanding how the opponent reacts to you and will react, so that you can plan accordingly.
Got it.
All right. So you got Rob in the air right now. I think like this is about like 5.5 minute mark. You had Rob up in the air and you just stayed grounded the whole time. You didn't threaten with up airs. You didn't threaten with anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of just like letting him land for free. And then even when he landed, you kind of just like stuttered there for a moment, and then you started retreating with a roll. You have these aerials, yellow especially. Yellow up air is dumb how big it is. You know, put these aerials out, short, double jump up there, threaten with an up air, make him, do something.
Hmm.
You don't want to let him come back for free. Olimar's so good because he
Okay.
can press a massive advantage state in this game because of his aerials being as good as they are now.
Hmm.
So going back, just like pressure, 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 and you don't even always have to like hit them. Sometimes being around them with a hitbox is enough to scare them into a bad spot.
Okay.
Alright, now you're off stage. Up you the three pick when you make it back. And he catches you with side B on the roll. Watch out on that rolling from ledge habit. You've gotten caught with it quite a few times now. So that's definitely a big thing to watch out on. More back to this neutral game where you kind of just like feeling it out with a lot of like grounded smashes, the occasional aerial, and the occasional side B. Uh, there's not too much to say on this right now that I haven't like already mentioned, so that's why I'm just kind of tame on it. Yeah, it definitely feels like you're not super comfortable with your aerials and kind of pressing forward with them. Like you'll hit sometimes maybe with a dash attack or something, and you don't even go for an up air. Like it's very rare for you to do that. So I guess just getting more comfortable with that type of gameplay, like that aerial Olimar, is gonna do you a lot of favors as well.
Okay.
Right there you had Rob on the ledge, and I do believe he did not have ledge invincibility when he regrabbed. And yeah, he didn't, because he tried to down air your recovery, and he missed. And then you rolled from the ledge once again, but that was an instance where, like, you know, you're on the ledge. You just grabbed an invincibility. He whiffed his punish, so now he's fallen a little bit, and he has to regrab the ledge, and he doesn't have invincibility. So this is a free opportunity to just, like, dare spike him, like, drop down, jump dare. When he tries to regrab the ledge, you get a spike potentially, you get the sour spot, whatever it is, you're getting some form of pressure. And while he can try and anti-air it with his up air, you know, there's a good chance you're going to trade if you space it right. But instead you opted for the defensive, I need to get off the ledge, I need to kind of get out of here option, because that's kind of one of your bad habits at the moment.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, you have to be comfortable with Olimar everywhere. You don't want to, like, it can't just be on the ground or under a platform or on the ledge. Like, you gotta be comfortable in the air, you gotta be comfortable off stage. Like, you have one of the best recoveries in the game. You can get back from pretty much anywhere, given the right circumstances. So buckling down and knowing that, like, it's going to be alright is important. I play the game in the way that, like, I am trying to, like, kill my opponent all the time, no matter what. I don't care where we are. I don't care if we're in the magnifying glass. I don't care if, like, I'm at 300% and you're at, like, 7. I'm trying to kill you all the time. Because of that, I don't, like, it's almost a little reckless in a sense that, like, I'll go for these really ballsy plays when I shouldn't. But, like, there are times where I get knocked off stage. You know, I'll think of an example I did in Smash 4. I was playing Nairo, and I was all the way down there in the bottom area of, like, Smashville off stage and all that, right? And he knocks me down, and he's coming down there to kill me. And most people are like, "Oh no, I need to get out of here. I need to live." I'm all the way down there. I up air him in, like, the magnifying glass, and I kill him. Because I'm like, you don't get to come down here. You think I'm in disadvantage? That's not the case. Olimar is so strong off stage because he gets more flexibility than a lot of other characters. His biggest weakness is not so much like when the opponent's off stage with him. It's like when the opponent is on stage and they can react to what he's doing. When they are able to appropriately, like, respond. But when it's like a scramble situation like that, it can get very hairy for a character that isn't Olimar, because they might commit to something and not be able to recover. But you can up air and then you can up B back no problem, or something like that. So just getting more comfortable everywhere you're at, and being ready to, like, fight back all the time, you're gonna be a lot better. So right here, kind of just, like, feeling it out, getting the occasional up smash and stuff like that. I mean, that's, like, a relatively close game for even how much, like, you're letting him get away with too, and I think that's important to pull back that, like, even though you're kind of, like, not pressing forward on a lot of things and you're letting him recover for free, you still kept it very competitive. And that's a good example, or, like, a good demonstration of how much more you can be doing when you actually, like, threaten your opponent.
Yeah.
Like, when you know the expression, like, they give you an inch, you take a mile. It's like that type of thing. Like, they give you one opening, you hit them, and then now you want to make them regret even giving you one hit. And it's like you up smash, up air, and then you up B, and then you do another up air, or you, like, catch their landing again, and you just keep pestering them. Like, you have these absurd hitboxes, and you're so good about, like, trapping, because, like, you can throw a forward smash out and they dodge it, but then it has so little lag that you can then come in and hit them with something else. So just, like, pushing this advantage state, getting comfortable in the air, it's going to help you a lot more. Like, using the side Bs to fill the downtime, to make every second count, to make every moment where the opponent's fighting you kind of more frustrating for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I picked this match. Like, even though it's close, like I still not playing like nearly as well
Hmm.
as I could. Like, not even half as good as I could.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. Like there are a lot of times where I win and I'm like, oh, I won, but it was like not how I wanted to
Right.
win. Like there was so much more I could have been doing.
Yeah.
And that I'm glad that you kind of gave me a match that you won as well because it shows like you said there you won, but there's just like so many things that you like get away with where that match could have been so much more devastating on your end.
Right.
And that's perfectly fine. So those are the big things. I'm sure a lot of like the issues that we saw in that match will be present in the next two. That's usually how it is with players. They have these kind of like fundamental issues that they struggle with. So I'll definitely be bringing those up when I see them. But getting into the second match, the Ness. How do you feel about Ness?
Um, I'm still not super comfortable,
Okay.
and I also it's a weird like I hate like blaming online,
Mhm.
but I didn't play like online in Smash 4, so coming to this game with like just like the weird like input delay there is online,
Yeah. No, no.
it still feels weird to me. Like
I
I've only been playing online for a couple of weeks.
I get what you're saying. I mean I play in tournaments a lot. I play online a lot. So like a good example, when I got back from Frostbite, I'd been playing offline the whole weekend. Everything was feeling really good, and then I came back and I practiced like some Wi-Fi, and it was terrible until I'd adjusted. I was like, I don't want to play this anymore. Like I'm getting slapped up, and I'm like, why am I getting slapped up? I'm not that bad. Um,
Yeah,
but no, I definitely see what you're saying. Like it takes a bit to adjust. You kind of have to readjust.
definitely.
Wi-Fi is definitely good. I think like online practice is phenomenal, and it's very important to get if you have access to it.
Yeah,
But it is a bit different in that regard. But Ness is just
yeah,
like a character where you have to kind of respect his hitboxes in the sense that they're very good on your shield, they're very good to get out of stuff, but like once again,
yeah.
your aerials when spaced will beat anyone. Does not matter who they are. So up airing his landings, forward airing him once again on his jump. Maybe like watch out for the space on like his forward air because it kind of has that outward hitbox. But that's another example where maybe you could do the like, run under up smash when he jumps, things like that. Kind of for Ness, you want to let him kind of like come in and commit, and then punish him for committing, like catching his landings and catching his whiffs.
Mm.
But let's get into it. A little bit more side B. I think that's good. Um, I did also notice that you don't up smash out of shield a lot. I think that's something you can do more as well. Like I've seen you go for a lot of grabs overall, but very little like, oh,
Yeah.
he touched my shield, up smash, and then once you up smash, you go for a ride, and get a lot of combo damage and all that stuff.
hmm
So doing that is definitely going to get you a lot of mileage too if they're hitting you with unsafe things. Right there, Ness is on the platform, and you kind of just like stayed grounded and let him come down. It ended up working out because you got your grab and all that stuff, but don't be afraid to threaten those up airs, like I said. Did you have something you wanted to say though?
Well, sorry, what?
I was saying, did you have something that you wanted to say, um, or anything, or are you good if I keep going?
I'm good if you keep going. Yeah, sorry. You're just like the Discord's
Oh,
not the super best voice quality, so forgive me if I hear you
no,
the first time.
no, 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 no. If it's
Um,
being bad or whatever, you let me know, and I'm happy to repeat myself.
so you were saying the something about him on the platform,
Oh
is that
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. You had him up on the platform, and then like instead of threatening with up airs or kind of getting any extra pressure, you ended up staying on the ground and kind of just like running back and forth, waiting for him to approach you.
Okay.
And it did end up working out in this case. You called him with a grab and all that stuff, but that was another example of where like you have the ability to push your advantage to kind of put some
Hmm.
pressure on him, make him a little bit more uneasy, especially with the yellow you had in your line. So just getting more comfortable and jumping up there and going for these up airs and like forcing your presence onto the opponent is gonna help a lot.
Yeah. I think just in general, I'm still relatively uncomfortable with the matchups with the entire cast. So just like I feel like I lean towards playing safe.
Hmm.
Like if I'm not sure if something works, I probably won't do it necessarily if it's a really close match.
The way I view it, do you play in tournament at all?
I do.
Okay, so that's good. So what I would recommend doing is like when you're playing online or you're playing friendlies or you're playing something that's not there's like no stakes in it. If it's just like quick play or if it's friendlies, like that's when you want to get reckless. That's when you want to experiment and try all these new things and be like, oh, it's a friendly, I can lose, and kind of like save that more reserved, unsure play style for tournament where then you give yourself the ability to kind of just like outplay your opponent by letting neutral reset a lot. But in friendlies, like go wild, let it test stuff out, see how far you can push yourself as a player, and with Olimar, and like how much of the respect they're going to give you, and what options you can beat, and what are these new wacky setups you can try. Those are the times to be doing it. Like when I play friendlies, I will go for the stupidest stuff just because I want to see if it can work. I want to see if they'll give it to me. But in tournament, I'll knock you off stage and I'll book it to the other side of the stage because I'm like, we're not even risking it. I'm here to outplay you. That's what I'm going to do. So let yourself
Alright.
go crazy in friendlies. It's going to help you a lot
Okay.
more in the long run. Kind of rocking the two Pikmin here. I think it's all right to pluck. I see why you keep like the one purple. I know a lot of people like to do that. It's not a terrible idea, just because like there are times where I do it too. Like one purple is just such a strong option because you always have it after you attack. Ness gets his combo. Just simple stuff. Right there, you ended up jumping into his forward air. I think like that was another example of like you just not throwing out enough buttons. Like you kind of like stood there, did nothing, and then you jumped and he caught you. Like that's an instance where you could have tried forward airing yourself, or you could have forward smashed, or done something to like force him to respond, or try and get him off of you. But instead, you kind of opted to stand there. And I don't know, you might have just been like kind of reacting and kind of analyzing everything that's happening at the moment, and like in terms
Yeah.
of your positioning. But just being ready to just like swing, like make them get off you is really important. Yeah, you definitely like have a more like we're gonna take our time. Like I'm just gonna like get my hit over and then we're gonna reset play style. And while that's not terrible, Ultimate's a game that really wants you to push your advantage state. So like do it
Yeah.
and then get your stuff and then go back from like reset. It's okay to reset constantly. Just like when you get your hits, you need to push them as far as you can.
Hmm.
So right there you grabbed him at 113 and you up throw, and up throw doesn't kill that percent on Ness. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it killed him right there, but you definitely could have gotten a few pummels in. Like it's hard to break out of grabs in this game.
Yeah.
So I think at those higher percents, pummeling is definitely worthwhile. Olimar does have this stupid glitch where like
Yeah.
you'll break out immediately after a pummel, but I believe, and this isn't confirmed, this is just my theory on it. It only happens if you grab with the tip of the grab box. So like I'm talking like the farthest distance you can grab them, you grab them. But if it's like closer or anything like that, you should be fine. And that's an instance where when you grabbed him right there, it very much looked like you could have gotten a few extra pummels for just some free percent.
Okay. Yeah, I actually I read about that and I just stopped pummeling after I read that.
Yeah, don't instead of like locking yourself out of these options, try to understand why it happens, and so you can still do the things that might cause it, but you reduce the chance of it happening.
Okay.
So like there, you throw him up or whatever, and then you kind of just like let him land back on the platform, and then you kind of try and pressure him with an up smash after he's landed on the platform. Just another example of you kind of like letting him recover and then trying to do it again. Yeah, he jumped right there, went for a bit of a slow forward air.
Yeah.
Definitely like the recurring issues with your gameplay, but that's good. I mean, if it's like consistent, those are things that you can really like hammer out, so you don't have to worry too much about them. It's not like it's some random new thing every game, which can be harder to pin down. These are very like specific issues which you can work on. I'm noticing like you've had double purple a lot, and while you're doing an all right job of using them, the strength of having two purples comes from the fact that you can kind of keep the pressure going longer than you could normally. You could like purple side B, fair, down tilt, things like that. Or you could like double purple side B and then like land and then F smash or up smash or shield or things like that. Like you're instead kind of like segmenting in it where it's like I purple side B once and then I won't even fair after. Like you're not letting yourself follow up on it. It's like you want to be able to apply these really safe, strong like block strings because purples are so busted and they do so much damage, and like
Okay.
they have like little lag when you hit a purple side B, you can usually follow up in almost every scenario. So it's gonna
Okay.
help you just like put out a lot more pressure and make your opponent a lot more scared.
I see. So instead of just using them as like a damaging projectile, use them as a way to like trap them in shield
Yes. It's like
and cover all of
you
their
throw
options.
one. It's like you'll throw one, and now they have to respond to this hitbox that's coming at them. If they shield it, you hit
I
them
see.
again, or you down tilt them, or you grab them. If they don't shield it and they get hit, great. Now you throw the other one, or you fair them, and you keep the pressure going.
Got it. Okay.
There you went for an up smash out of shield, which is pretty good, but unfortunately you waited a little bit on your option, so you ended up not being able to punish his grab. Like up smash on shield to like immediate spot dodge is so strong because a lot of people try to shield grab it.
Hmm.
A lot of the back and forth neutral. You definitely side being more in this game, which I'm liking. Still not enough, I feel, but just more in general, which I think is good. So the Ness has done like a rather good job of equalizing these percents, and I think that's an example of like you started off really strong and you were kind of outplaying him, but then he kind of figured out the way to get his little bit of hits here and there in the more slow paced neutral that's happening, and like
Uh-huh.
essentially these trades are kind of benefiting him more because like for every like one hit or whatever he's getting like 30-40%.
Yeah.
And then that's just like slowly making it easier for him to do it, and that's why you kind of need to be able to call out your opponent and hit them with certain things more often, and kind of force them to respect you. Because if not, if you play a slower game like this, you run the risk of letting them take the lead slowly because if they don't have anything to respect, they're just going to keep doing it until it works.
Mm.
And then right now, Nessa's got the lead. Catch him with the up throw. Thought so. Your management isn't terrible, but I'll talk more about what I think is the biggest issue with it after we do all the matches.
Okay.
I feel like you also have a little bit of a slower kind of like reaction out of shield. Like they'll hit you and
Yeah.
then you'll wait a little bit. And I understand reacting to things like perfectly is very difficult. So instead, what you can try and do is like when you're in shield and they're around you, preemptively tell yourself that they're going to hit your shield. So when they hit you, like you're not having to wait and see when they hit it. You kind of already know. And it's like the moment you see someone like tap your shield, you don't have to register. You're just like ready to let that up smash out of shield rip.
Okay.
It's a lot of like predictionary stuff. Like you can learn a lot from like your opponent's position relative to yours, and then be like, oh, they're this close to me, and I'm in shield. It's likely that they're going to attack with this option, and in that scenario,
Yeah.
and then you go and punish them like that. It's very predictive, and that's how a lot of like top level players are doing things because we're not like role reacting to things all the time. Like there are times where we
Definitely.
do, but it's a lot of like understanding what our opponent can do in that moment, and then having a good idea of how to respond.
And there's certainly there are moves like DK's dash attack, for example, where I've just like gotten so used to how many hits are in it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I know if like DK starts dash attacking from a certain distance away from me, like I can up smash out of shield like instantly because
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to that specific attack.
Yeah.
I think it's just being unfamiliar with how many hits are in each move
That
and
makes sense.
the
And
shield stun that comes with
it's
that.
it's only been a couple months, and you did say that you're not familiar with stuff. So this is stuff that's going to like you're going to get better at over time. The more you
Yeah.
play the game, the more you're going to learn it. But having these like the basis on how to respond to their attacks and their information is going to help you like learn a lot faster. So you're not going to maybe need to wait and react every time. You're just going to be like, oh, he touched my shield, I'll smash.
Yeah.
And it's something to like look forward and so you can like learn faster in the future.
Huh.
Right now you're rocking the 2 Pikmin. I personally would pluck one more, but I'd also be side being a lot more. Like, you're not going through a lot of Pikmin to really need to pluck another one. Good up smash out of shield. I can tell you want that blue up throw. Running around with the blue. That was telegraphed from a mile away, but I don't blame you. Ooh, caught through that up air.
I think going for grabs when it's not safe is just a residual habit I have from Smash 4.
Yeah.
Because it was so good in Smash 4,
Oh, yeah.
but it's not very good in this game.
Yeah, no, it's the dynamic of Olimar's grab changed a lot in this game. It's still like super strong option, and I mean with how strong his up throw is, it's going to be good. But it's not that like always do it option like it was in that game.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that game, that was a totally winnable game.
Yeah.
Just a lot of the issues I touched down on, like you weren't pressing your advantage a lot. You were kind of letting him get in on your hits, things like that. Stuff to just keep in mind in the future. Kind of try and put more like attacks out, put more things, call him out more. Like don't let him kind of just like run around you for free.
Yeah.
And it's gonna get a lot better for you if you just keep that up. All right, let's check this third game.
So you think
What's up?
become more familiar with Olimar's options, and I'm using side B more. Do you think that just sort of dominating the match sort of just comes naturally with throwing out those moves more?
Yeah, I think once you get more comfortable and I mean, your playstyle may end up developing into one that isn't as like aggressive or button heavy as me or someone else. Like you might end up finding that you like to play kind of more slow, like neutral heavy, like outplaying constantly gameplay, more one that's like I'm just gonna catch you every time you come in, as opposed to the more proactive gameplay where you're like I'm gonna fair you as you try and do this. I mean you'll do it all, but like you might find yourself leaning more towards that slower pace, and that's fine. But I think experimenting with like more aerial usage, getting comfortable everywhere on the screen, these are gonna allow you to kind of like find yourself more and understand what you actually are like enjoy doing with Olimar and what you're good at.
Alright.
Alright, so the Cloud game, Cloud's pretty alright. I think it's a fine matchup. Like it's not bad by any means. I don't remember if I had Cloud as a slightly winning matchup or even, but it's not like he's a swordsman, Challenge him when you can, respect back air and forward air, things like that. It's a lot easier in this game than it was in Smash 4 because up air is way less oppressive. Your whistle's better in limits, not all the time. So it's not too bad. He starts out charging a little bit of limit, that's fine. Cloud is thankfully combo food. So if you get like one up smash or something like that, you can usually get a lot of damage. I do think Cloud might be a character that would kind of give your playstyle a little bit more trouble, just because he's fast and he puts out a lot of big hitboxes, and you're not always good about like challenging people as of right now. In addition to that, you might also be a little bit slow when it comes to like reacting out of shield. So like if you can't stop him as he's coming in, like once he's already in, it's gonna be very tough for you. And that seems to be the case just from watching this. Like there are times where you're like stopping him before he's actually in, you're getting your hit and you're doing really well. But then like once he hits you once, it can kind of be a lot more stressful. I like how you kept your purple though when you're off stage there. That's something that a lot of Olimars don't do. They'll kind of just like panic throw it, which I think is really bad because you're getting rid of such a powerful option.
Yeah. I hate losing my purple.
Yeah, they're so good. You're a little bit more aerial here, kind of like jumping under the platform, not necessarily like sharking with anything, but just that jumping alone was like making him a bit more hesitant to jump down. And I think that was a good example of what I was talking about, where like your presence alone when they're at these kill percents is just enough to make them hesitate on jumping down, and it kind of gives you time. Like, sometimes all you need is a little bit of extra time to formulate a way to beat them. So that was really good, just like doing those little short hops, maybe not even throwing out an up air, but that was a good place to start to really see like what I was talking about and how it can be applied. Get the up air. Yeah, you're definitely a lot more aerial in this game, which I think is really good.
I think this is the most recent game, so
Yeah, it's definitely showing if it is. So it's very good. You still have like a lot of the fundamental issues, but you seem more comfortable with throwing stuff out in this game.
yeah.
So right here, it's about 5 minute mark. You grab him with 3 blues. You pivot grab him. So you have 3 Pikmin. You grab him with the blue, and you're facing towards the stage. Now you down throw him here, and I get why you down throw him. You know, you're thinking down throw, forward air, do something like that, right? But
Uh-huh.
what you probably would want to do is you want to back throw him there. Back throw is your highest damaging throw. I believe it's 23% with 3 Pikmin and a blue. So it's
Yeah.
23%. It's raw damage. You're not going to get a follow up off it, but you're also not going to get a follow up from a triple blue grab at this percent either if they're DIing out. So
Yeah.
down throw is less percent, and with the back throw, you actually get stage control because now Cloud is off stage, and now you have the ability to potentially edge guard him or ledge
Mhm.
trap him or whatever it is. So back throw is super good for that because it's highest damaging throw, so it's flat good damage when you can't combo them, and it's going to give you stage control a lot of the time, and that's something you'll notice a lot of top Olimars will do is they'll like back throw at these higher percents where they can't get any follow ups just because it's better off in most cases, and it's great for stage control.
Yeah. Sort of a tangent. With ledge trapping with Olimar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I'm not entirely sure I know what to do outside of down tilt or down smash,
Um.
for the 2 frame.
Yeah.
Like after that, I'm not sure really what Olimar's game plan is for ledge trapping.
It depends on the character. You have a few things though. You can kind of space yourself a little bit away from the ledge and forward smash at the ledge so that it stops at like where the ledge is, but it finishes its whole animation there, right? Like if it doesn't have all the distance, it'll kind of cut the distance short, but it still is active for those 18 frames. So you can kind of just like have the F smash linger there, and that can potentially catch regular get ups. Your
Mhm.
opponent's doing that a lot because they'll try and time it. You can run up to the ledge and do like a short hop dare, and this is actually something that was really good in Smash 4. It's a little bit harder to do in this game, but what you do is you run up to the ledge when they're on it, and you dare. You short hop dare in place, so you're still on stage technically. And what the goal of that is you dare, and if they stay on the ledge, they're probably going to get hit by the lingering hitbox. But a lot of times people will get up attack to try and hit you, and because that has invincibility. So what you actually do is you dare, they get up attack, their get up attack hits the Pikmin that you dared with as its hitbox is over and its hurtbox activated. It lags their get up attack, you land with no lag, and then you forward smash them.
Huh. Okay.
There's that. There is, down smash if they hang too long on the ledge. There's like run to the ledge, then run back and pivot F smash on like their roll get up or their regular get up. So it's a lot of like going there, putting out a hitbox, and kind of like either letting it linger or using like your movement to like bait out an option and then get away real quick and throw something out.
I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Get the grab on the down throw or the down tilt. That's fine. You got a down tilt there, didn't follow up on it. Still kind of that like not perfectly comfortable in following up with aerials, so that's something to just keep working on. Yeah, the clouds get you in the corner right now, and then he's just kind of like making it difficult for you to do much because you're kind of hesitant to committing and things like that. So that's something to just kind of keep in mind. Like don't be afraid to get out of there. Don't be afraid to push buttons. Don't let these guys run over you when you don't need to.
Okay.
Especially at these lower percents where it's less likely you're gonna die. Something I feel like you could do a little bit more too is like when you hit someone's shield with a smash, don't be afraid to like spot dodge right after. Because if it's the right Pikmin and it's spaced right, like, you're gonna be able to dodge their attack a lot of the time and then punish them.
Okay.
Catch you with a forward air there. Oh, he's gonna break your shield. Oh, he broke it. Oh my gosh, don't tell me this is gonna kill. Oh, you got the grab. Okay, okay. I was a little worried about Max Rage Cloud killing you.
Yeah, I was mashing so hard.
You're definitely struggling to kill him here, and I think it's because you're kind of like, a lot of your attacks are either happening when he's too far away or when after he's hit you, and then you're kind of just like not able to punish his move. So it's just another example of like you got to be a bit more proactive in like throwing out these hitboxes to stop him ahead of time.
So is that with every character or specifically sword characters where you need to be very proactive?
Sword characters especially because they have that range. But in general, it's a good habit. There are some characters where you'll want to let them commit first, but like because Olimar's aerials are so good in the way he can kind of put attacks out, you're kind of putting out this wall. It's like imagine someone is like there's like someone running at you, right? And you want to stop them. So instead of like hitting them, you just like throw up like a brick wall all of a sudden. It's now either they get hit by the brick wall or they immediately try and dodge it. Like, and when they dodge it, then you put something there, and it's like you're kind of finagling them into a spot where they have to deal with an option, or they get hit by something. Because that's the goal. You don't want them on top of you. You want to stop them from getting on top of you by putting out forward smashes and side Bs and forward airs and up smashes. So proactive is ideal, but there are times where you do need to wait and like punish someone. Like a good example is like let's say you're fighting Shulk and he's in speed. You're probably not going to catch him on the startup of a short hop nair, so you want to maybe parry the nair or punish his option after.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like when these characters are able to outmaneuver, you need to either like there's a lot to take into account. It's not like I always do this option because there are characters with really good airspeed but bad range. Someone like Yoshi or Peach, or not, sorry, Yoshi or Puff isn't comparable to someone like Roy or Cloud who has a sword and has good speed. So you have to like kind of take it on a case by case basis, and it's something you'll figure out more the more you play. But having these proactive options is really good. It's like look at every individual matchup and go, what does this character have to stop me? Are they maybe a slower startup character with a good speed like Greninja, who's really fast in the sense of like his movement speed, but his startup frame data is actually rather slow for what you would expect of a character like that. So a lot of times what you want to do is catch him starting up his move and hit him, or catch him after he's committed the shield and he doesn't have a quick option. Where someone like Sheik, it might be a bit harder to like catch them on the startup because like a frame 3 fair or something like that. And you'll have to like let them commit and then punish them or something, or like let them whiff their forward and then punish them, or kind of just like outrange them, as opposed to try and catch them before the move comes out. Which I mean, like you can still catch people before they start like their attack, even if they're a fast character, things like that. But the general game plan shifts depending on the character.
Yeah, it's less optimal on characters that have fast startup.
Yeah. Yeah, these cross slashes are definitely destroying you. If you find yourself like getting like messed up by cross slash, you could try a forward air out of shield. It's tied as your fastest out of shield option, because it's frame 10 with a neutral air. But if like if you're not able to punish this move a lot or whatever, just like don't be afraid to just like roll away or jump away, or don't try to punish it. Kind of just like reset back to that neutral game. Like right here, you have like 1 blue. And I don't know if it's because you're kind of trying to get a grab or whatever, but I definitely think plucking more. Like he's at 190 right now, so like even like a white grab or anything like that's still gonna kill. Like don't force yourself to like only have 1 Pikmin when you need to be getting a kill, unless you're like really fishing for that grab. And even then, like if you have 1 blue and they're at a kill percent, they know what you want.
Yeah.
Alright, catch you with a forward tilt. Yeah, that game was definitely better. I think it showed off some good examples of kind of like being a bit more aggressive and comfortable in the air, kind of pressuring with your presence, things like that. So there was some development in kind of just like how the first game went compared to the last game, but the big issue being get more comfortable in the air, throw out your aerials, stop letting people kind of just like be around you comfortably. Be like, no, you want to be around me? I'm gonna throw out a hitbox. I'm gonna force you to respect me. Side being
Mm.
more in that like a lot of times in neutral or when you're in advantage and things like that, and kind of creating a more fluid play style where it's not as segmented and you're not always like slowing down and stopping and things like that. Um,
Okay.
but going back to the pick management thing I mentioned, your management itself wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Like you had, like you wanted to grab with blues, you wanted to, hit with purples or whatever. You were pretty smart about that. I think the way you're playing now, though, you're not allowing your like lineup to really like flourish a lot of the time. You're kind of just like, I have this color, I'm gonna use it.
Hmm.
And that is probably a byproduct of how you play. You're not side being a lot, so you're not shifting through colors a lot. You're just kind of stuck with what you have a lot of the time.
Hmm.
And once you play faster, like the way I do it is like I play really fast and I'll use my lineup for what I have. Like I know which each color is ideal for and I try to use them for that. Like I'll try and use yellow to start a combo, or I'll use yellow to down smash, or I'll use red to go through fire, or I'll blue grab or whatever. But what I try and do is I try and move my like lineup so fast and get it like cycled to the colors I want, and then I shift my playstyle about it. It's like, oh, I start out with red, yellow, blue, and I'll side B a lot, and I'll do this, and I'll kind of like do my normal zoning game. But then I swap to like yellow, white, purple, and now it's like now I'm more in a, oh, I hit you with an up smash with a yellow. We're gonna go for a ride. I'm gonna combo you. I'm gonna do this. I have purple now to help force my aggression. I have white that I can do to tack on a side B and then force you to respond to it, and then maybe come in with a yellow forward air to punish your attempt to get the white off. So let yourself kind of like shift how you play depending on your lineup, but also work on like getting colors out of your line and using the ones you don't necessarily want at the time to like
Hmm.
still fight them and force them to respond to stuff. It's a little complex, and I don't do a very good job of explaining it, at least not how I want. But like you want to be open ended when you play Olimar, and kind of don't let your lineup dictate how you play, but only let it like influence. So it's like suggesting you do
Right.
certain things until you get the lineup you want, and then you can actually shift your play style to something you're more comfortable with.
I see. So, okay, I get it.
But
Kind of.
it's something that the more you play, the more you'll understand better.
Uh-huh.
He Olimar is a character that I think is more than a lot of characters. He's someone you have to just play a lot. You have to experience things because you'll like little things will click, little optimizations and
Yeah.
little understanding. Like, oh wait, I could have yellow F smash there, and that would have true comboed into this grab, and then did that. Whereas if I did it with a blue, that wouldn't have worked. And there's
Yeah.
yeah, like you're just gonna figure it out, or you're just gonna like randomly do it one day. You're gonna be like, oh, that worked. I didn't know that. And like I don't know if you watch other Olimar players, but like whenever you watch other players, like notice how they're using certain colors and how they're starting combos, and it's like, oh wait, Myron has this lineup. Oh, let's see how he uses it. Oh, he does that, and then he
Yeah.
starts the combo with that, and oh wow, that's really good. And then you'll kind of like understand how we're using it, and then you can kind of build your own style around that. I think for someone relatively new, for like a dedicated Olimar player, like kind of putting a lot more time into him, you're
Hmm.
overall solid. You have a lot of the more traditional like early Olimar issues where it's like you're a bit slower, you're a bit more grounded, you're not as comfortable in like calling people out. You might not side. There are two things Olimars. They either don't side B enough or they side B too much. Um,
Yeah.
and you're in the don't side B enough category. It's hard to find that perfect middle ground, but kind of like don't let that dead space exist. Kind of like
Right.
always, I always try to be doing something, whether it be managing my lineup, positioning properly, throwing a Pikmin, whatever it is. So you're gonna want to fill those little like pockets of downtime with side B or with positioning, or kind of like reorganizing your line and things like that. And then when you do that, you're gonna start filtering your line faster. You're gonna be able to get colors you want more quickly, and that's going to
Hmm.
help you change your playstyle better. And then once you get more comfortable in the air and pressuring and pushing your advantage state, it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot better because you're going to be able to get more bang for your buck with every hit. Same with off stage as well, kind of pressuring off stage more. Like, don't be afraid to go out there. Like, really push the limits of what your character can do. Um,
Yeah.
but that's like my general thing that I noticed. Do you have any like specific questions you wanted to ask or anything you were wondering?
Um, I had a list of things, but I've sort of been going through them as we've
Okay.
uh
Yeah.
um. Oh, one of them is mixing up up B back to the stage.
Mhm.
I know there's just going high or going low and um, just sort of delaying coming back to the ledge. How did you feel about my use of up B?
I thought your up B usage was pretty good. Like, you didn't get hit off stage very often with it. That might have also been because the opponents weren't really going out there, but I think it was solid for the opponents you were fighting, especially. Like, you made it back to the stage a lot of the time. There's a lot of times where you kept your purples or your Pikmin 2, and I think that's really important that you're doing that early on. So you're kind of already prioritizing, like, oh, I need to not be defenseless off stage, so let's try and keep that purple and things like that. So I thought that was actually very, very solid on your end.
Okay.
I think you have like an all right idea for some of these things. Like, I even saw you whistle a PK Thunder and things like that. It's just
Yeah.
like making sure to optimize when you do get your hits and how to get them, and kind of speeding up your gameplay and making a more fluid style so that it's not
Yeah.
constantly start stop start stop. It's going to help you a lot more. So like whenever you're practicing in the future, kind of just like try and press more buttons. Like, just see
Yeah.
how far you could go with that, and really like be like, let me see how many smashes I can let loose, and like what I can do on shield, and understand how your opponent responds to that information. Do they always try and shield grab your up smash? Okay, if they're shield grabbing your up smash, spot dodge after the up smash, and then bam, you punish their grab, and things like that.
Yeah.
It's all about understanding how the opponent responds to what you give them, because if you know how they're going to respond, you can punish every time.
Yeah. I think that's sort of the root of all of my problems. That and side B, just sort of getting people to react to things and then predicting that reaction ahead of time. I think that's really where I need to improve
Yeah, and
the
that
most.
will get easier over time. As long as you're constantly working on being aware and mindful of all of this, it's going to get easier.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. I mean, like, I've been playing Olimar exclusively like as a main tournament character for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Um, like, it is a long work in progress. I'm not saying it's gonna take you like 6 years to have an idea of what you're doing or whatever. Like, you can definitely do
Sure.
it in more time than that. But it's just, there's so much you have to understand about him and how the game works around him. He plays very differently than a lot of other characters. So you have to
Definitely.
like build your understanding up, and that just takes a lot of time and a lot of practice. So the more you practice, the easier it's going to get. As long as you're always trying to like practice that mindfulness, it's going to pay off a lot more than if you're just like grinding out games and not really paying attention.
Yeah. And the other one I think you already answered, which is playing neutral against characters that are very aggressive with aerials, like
Mhm.
Fox and Greninja. I think you said it was just preemptively hitting them.
In some cases, yeah. Like, Fox is a good example where like one of his best combo starters, or like his two big things, are like dash attack and nair. Okay, if
Yeah.
you notice he's nairing your shield, you cannot punish nair on shield.
Right.
It's at that point, it's like, is he gonna jab? Is he gonna grab? Whatever. So that's an instance where sometimes you gotta shield it, and then you just gotta let it rock, and then maybe you like roll out of there, or you let him whiff his jab on your shield, things like that. If you have the spacing, yeah, definitely try and forward air it out of there, or try and pivot grab it. Right. It's a lot of like looking at where you are in relation to Fox, and then going, these are the options I have available to me at the moment.
Hmm.
And then if he dash attacks you, you shield it, and then you up smash out of shield.
Yeah.
Or you like fair out of shield or something like that. Like, shield is a very good option against characters like that a lot of the time. Like, don't be afraid to hold your shield, let them hit it, and then like wait until their damage peters out, because it's like they'll start with something really safe, and then the next option will be less safe, and then maybe the third option will be even less safe, and then at that point you're like, now I can punish.
I see. Okay.
But then a character like Greninja, who has similarly safe pressure, he's a character who has slow startup, so you want to like hit him on his startup. So the more you
I
play
see.
against these characters, you're gonna figure it out. But like, if you're noticing like you're struggling to deal with one or two things, be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Like, oh, he's forward airing me. Okay, so how do I stop forward air? Well, I can't challenge it directly. Maybe next time I'll get close to him, and then once he jumps to forward air, I'll forward air him before he gets it out, or I'll up air him before on his jump, things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, if that's it, I think that's the session.
All right.
Yeah, I will get you that document today. I just gotta write it
Awesome.
up and do some stuff, and then I will get the SWAT uploaded either by tonight or tomorrow, depending on how my internet is being, because it's being a little dumb. But as always, if you have any like questions, feel free to shoot me them, and I'll do my best to answer them and all that stuff. Right?
All right.
Alrighty, man. Thank you, and I hope you have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks a ton, man.